Welcome to Candid Conversations with FD. Today we're going to sit down and talk to an avid sports card collector and go through the history of why he has collected what and talk more about his interest in sports in the future. Jordan is the GOAT, period.
So what's up with Russell
hear
Westbrook in the playoffs? Let's talk about
Are
that.
you trying to tell me that Steph Curry is not top 10 all time?
Pink Aaron, he's a giant.
Who is Bobo?
LeBron over here talking about he's seeing 3 of everything? Come on, man. This is Candid Conversations with FD.
Okay, so Fabian, I'm going to start hard, okay?
Richie Decker.
I'm going to start with...
Go hard, go big with
I'm
it.
going big. I'm going to start big. You told me to bring props.
That's right.
And I'm going to start with my 5 favorite cards. And this
Okay.
will also tell you
Wow, we're going to get some close-ups.
how I got into collecting.
Okay.
All right?
I know some Manos is going to be in here.
Okay, so these are my prime collecting years.
Okay.
And this is a 1965 Mickey Mantle. This is my favorite card.
Yes.
This is the first year that I ever started collecting. I was 6. And, you know, when you grew up in New York in the 1960s, Mickey Mantle was God.
Yes.
So this was the card to get in 1965. And I started in the middle, and I don't remember much about how I actually got into it. But I do remember that I had to have this card. Mm-hmm. And obviously this is not the one that I had when I was 6, mm-hmm. but I'm kind of addicted to this card, and you know, this is a PSA 6.5. I have 4 PSA 8s at home.
Okay.
I actually think that this 6.5 looks as nice as some of the 8s. But that to me is the card, and if I see one in a PSA 8 and the price is reasonable, I have no self-control.
Okay.
That's why I have 4 other ones.
Yeah. This is a nice card. How did you go about getting this one?
You know, I honestly don't remember. I would go on eBay and I buy
Okay.
a lot of cards on eBay, and I saw that one, and you know, I probably got this before I could afford the 8s.
Yeah.
When I was
That's
younger.
how it always happens.
So
right?
so and then I started to upgrade.
Okay.
So now let me go next.
Go for it.
By the way, these are my prime collecting years, 1965 to 1969.
Okay.
I have all these sets in really nice condition.
Okay.
And I'm going to give a plug. I buy a lot of my cards here from a guy named Matt Fettergreen, who owns Beverly Hills Baseball Card Shop on Robertson, which is one of the premier stores in the LA area.
Yeah, and we want to visit that.
Yeah, I'm the only one who's really still around, and just tell him that, you know, we did this.
We'll do.
So this card, this is a 1966 Mickey Mantle card, and in this year, he came out in the first series, because back then there were 7 series, and a new series would come out every month. And I remember at age 7, actually I hadn't turned 7 yet, being very excited for the new cards to come out, because I wasn't around collecting at the beginning of when these came out. I got in the middle. So my mom went to the store in suburban New York.
What kind of store?
It was back then. It was called the Stationery Store,
Okay.
and this is called Valcrest Stationery.
Okay.
And she went, and back then they sold these packs in wax packs, cello packs, and rack packs.
Yeah.
So cello packs, I think they were like less than $1, mm-hmm. and you could see the top card and the bottom card on the pack. Mm-hmm. And my mom went, and she bought me 10 cello packs with Mickey Mantle showing.
Oh, wow.
This card.
Okay.
Now this is not the card that I had when I was 7.
That's right.
Because I don't have any of those. And even though this card is not graded, I happen to really like this card, because in this particular year, part of the condition is how red the card is in the design.
Yes.
And this one has a real colorful red to it, while some of the PSA 8s that I have of this card are not nearly this nice.
Would you ever get that card graded?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because you see this little white thing
yes.
on his sleeve
Yes.
right there? I was told that the reason why this card wouldn't grade high is because there's a word that I don't recall where the paper is kind of coming off the card. It's almost undetectable. It doesn't really bother me at all.
Yeah.
But I just happen to really like this one. So that's a 66 mantle.
One could collect. I just want to say this. One could collect for years and never see all this laid out like this right here. I've never seen this laid out. I've collected for
This is
a long
only
time.
5 years.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then this next one, this is the 67 mantle. This is a really popular set because he came out in the second series that year. So I remember being 7, just short of 8, being really bummed in the first series when he wasn't in that, and I had to wait a month.
Okay.
And I'm not patient now. So
Yeah.
at 7 and 8, I really wasn't. And even though this is a face shot and some people might think it's boring, I just happen to love this card. And I have a lot of nicer ones of this. And in the graded cards, this one doesn't have it, which is good. But there's a little tail on the top of the S in many of the graded cards, which keep them like a grade lower. When you get graded cards, you tend to get a little picky.
Yeah,
So I don't
fair.
like the ones with the little S because it looks a little it's a little like run over of paint.
Yeah.
It's a little sloppy looking. But anyway, we know this is second series card because of the number 150, and I don't know what you know about 1967 cards, but the high numbers, like in the 6th and the 7th series, were really hard to get because
I've read that.
That would be toward when football season started and people got less interested in baseball. So if you want to collect this set, the 7th series cards, the high numbers, are really hard to get, really expensive in good condition. So that's that one.
Let's show this.
Now, for me, one of the reasons why, I'm doing all the talking.
Go ahead. No, I want to listen. I want to learn.
For one of the reasons why, to me, card collecting is so pivotal to my life to this day, is because all of these cards bring back memories. I remember this is a 1968 Mickey Mantle. I think he was in the 4th series that year,
Okay.
280 or maybe the 3rd. And I remember getting this card with my grandmother, who's now deceased, in Queens, New York. I remember, I can visualize it as we're sitting here talking, getting a pack and opening the pack and getting this card with her. Obviously, this is not that one, but this is an ungraded card that's in really nice shape. I don't really care about getting cards graded once I own them. I mean, this looks to me like it would probably be a 7 or an 8, but I could be wrong. You tend to kind of overgrade your own cards.
Yeah, everybody does that. Very nice.
So I happen to really, I like that card a lot.
And it's interesting how cards, when you go back, like you just told that story, I think every collector has, if it's a card that they really enjoy, even if it's valuable or not, where they got it from, probably who they were with, and what was going on at that time. Like I remember when Jerry Rice came out in '87, my brother was a senior in high school at Thornridge High School in Chicago. And we used to go to the 7-Eleven, which is right by the store.
Right.
Which was right by the school. It's not there now. And I used to go in, they used to have cards right by the cash register. And I would pick them out all the time and get so many. And get in the car and wait for them to come out of school and open them up. And just stack up the Jerry Rice cards. Now, a lot of other cards in that set are not as valuable, but you just remember how you went about getting those.
Well, that's
cards.
a good segue into this one.
Yeah.
So this I have a very similar story about this. This is one of my favorite stories. So this is a 69 Mickey Mantle, not graded, and this is the white letter variation. So normally the 69 has yellow letters. This one, which I think is in pretty good shape, is way more expensive, really hard to find. And this particular year, really hard to find centered. And I'm picky about centered cards. I don't like off-centered cards. So this is a very well-centered card, white letter. I don't know what it would grade at. I'm thinking maybe a 6, maybe a 7. So I have to just tell you the story about this card.
Go ahead.
So I grew up in the suburbs of New York City in Rockland County. And back then they sold cards in stationery stores, which were like variety stores where you can get magazines. They didn't have any food. They had candy. They had, cards, cigarettes, toys, school supplies, etc.
Yeah.
Well, I was either 9 or 10 when this card came out in 1969, and there was this more of like a delicatessen called Sal's, and it was the only store that I was allowed to walk to because we could cut through the woods, and there was only a little of a way on the main road. So I remember I went to Sal's, and he had retired right before the 69 season, and this is card number 500. I think it was the 6th series, maybe the 5th, actually. It was the 5th, actually. And it was the first time in my life I could afford to buy a box of cards. I think it was 24 packs, $1.
Wow.
And I went and I got this card out of that box. Not this one, but a 69 Mickey Mantle, yellow letter. I remember also Tom Seaver, his second year card was in that, and I got that out of the box too. A couple months ago, I have a 29-year-old son and a 25-year-old daughter. My daughter just moved here, back from New York to here. My son moved back from New York to here a few years ago, and we went to visit my mom to go to Yankee opening day, because I do that every year. And I went and I drove to where I grew up, and I went to the store, Sal's, where
Still open.
Still there. And I told the lady, who barely spoke English, and they didn't sell cards anymore, that I went and I got my cards there, including this, and she basically told me in Spanish that a lot of people come back and tell her that.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's my, those are my 5 favorite cards right there.
What else you got? Some tells me at home you have.
Okay, so I have quite the Mickey Mantle collection.
I can imagine.
I start in 56, and they're all PSA 7s and 8s. And I go all the way to the last card, and I have multiples. And the reason I start at 56 is because I can't justify spending the amount of money that it would cost to get nice ones earlier. And I like photographs, not paintings.
Yes.
And 56 backwards is all paintings. The first Mantle card I really like is a 57. And that's kind of, and the first one I got, my wife got me as an engagement present. And now I have 2. One's a PSA 7, one's a PSA 8. And I actually think the 7 is nicer than the 8 if you put them side by side. But the 8's worth a lot more. So, and I guess one thing I should say also is I have sets, every top set from 1957 to the present.
How'd you go about putting those together? Because that's a beast.
So basically, I started in the late 70s, and I had them all, and then I worked backwards. And I put them together in bad condition because that was all I could afford. And then as I got older, primarily through Matt at the Beverly Hills Baseball Card Shop, I upgraded all my sets from 57 to 73 because the others I didn't need to upgrade. And don't forget, and I have more on that coming out of the bag. But in any event, I'm going to go to the next prop.
Go for it.
All right?
Go for it.
Okay.
Prop it up.
So I'm going to go chronologically. Okay. So I'm a hockey fanatic and a baseball fanatic, although I'm not real happy with the state of baseball right now.
That's right.
And I'm particularly disappointed in the Yankees right now. And literally since about 2012, I've gotten more into hockey than baseball. And my son also was more into hockey. But my first foray into hockey occurred in 1969. So this is my all-time favorite hockey player.
Hold on.
This is Rod Gilbert, all-time favorite hockey player. And these hockey cards, the 68-69 set, is the first year I ever saw hockey cards. And this to me back then, and actually still kind of is, even though it's not worth that much money, this to me is the holy grail of my hockey card collection. It's the equivalent of this, but it's worth a lot less. And I've met Rod Gilbert a couple times. I've met almost all my sports heroes. I met Mickey Mantle. But in any event, this card really got me into hockey in 1969. So I brought that, and I have quite a hockey card collection. I go back to the early 60s in hockey, although I'm missing the two most expensive sets because they're just so expensive. And I don't like them that much, and I can't justify spending the money unless I really like it.
Yeah.
So back in the 60s, Topps and O-Pee-Chee both made hockey cards. So there's a O-Pee-Chee version of this. You could only get the O-Pee-Chee versions in Canada, and the O-Pee-Chee sets were bigger. I have O-Pee-Chees too. The picture's the same. I just only brought
Yeah, it
one.
says O-Pee-Chee.
So that's hockey. 69.
Nice card, man. It's amazing sometimes how the card that's not, or the autograph that wasn't the most expensive,
Right.
is what kicks you off
Right.
as a kid, and you start going.
Well, for me, the expensiveness of it became a problem because
For me too.
I'm a collector, and I'm going to buy them no matter what they cost, and it just makes it harder if it's more expensive.
I agree.
I
I totally agree.
So, going chronologically.
Okay.
So when Mickey Mantle retired, it was a bummer. And as a kid, I switched over to the Mets. All right, so my favorite player, my favorite Met was Tom Seaver. This is a 1971 Tom Seaver card.
Clean.
These cards are hard to find
Yes, they
clean
are.
because the
black
black borders.
Speak on it.
Yeah. So, and by the way, for collectors, this is a 7. Do you see anything wrong with that?
No,
I mean,
no, I'm looking at the edges.
if it was a 9, I mean, so it's like that's why I like 7s and 8s because they're affordable and there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
them. And you can put a 7 next to an 8 and the 7 will look nicer. So just a story about this card. So in 1971, the cards still came out in series. So your first series would come out, and if you were like me, you'd get them like the first couple days they were out. You'd get the whole set, and then it was like boring, and you couldn't wait till the next one came out. So in 1971, there was a store near my house called W.T. Grant's. It was kind of like a predecessor to Costco.
Okay.
Not quite Costco, more like it had
A little bit of everything?
Yeah, maybe more like Walmart.
Okay, yeah.
Predecessor to Walmart.
Yeah.
So they had in Grants, I don't even know how I found them, but I remember this vividly. They had triple packs called rack packs, but they weren't rack packs because rack packs you could see the front and the back, so if you could get the good player, and nobody cared about cards then, so if you saw like a Tom Seaver on top and you wanted Tom Seaver, you could get it. You could get 5 of them if they were there. You could search and no one cared. But what was weird about Grants was they had triple wax packs in like a cardboard canister, and you couldn't see them. What was, the cards inside, and I don't know why. I probably was there with my mom. I saw cards and I begged her to buy them, and she bought me this, triple pack, and I opened it up. But what was weird about it was the first 2 packs had first series cards, and the third pack had second series cards, and no one else had second series cards. They weren't coming out for a month. So I quickly found that Grants was a find because I could get third
early,
series
right?
early.
Yeah.
So I remember getting my Tom Seaver in 1971 in one of those Grant packs. So I really brought this for the story. Okay?
I like
So that's that one. Now, I'm going to segue to hockey.
it. Okay.
Rod Gilbert again. I was really into hockey by now. This is a 1971-72 Rod Gilbert card. And I remember my maternal grandparents, both of whom are deceased, lived in the Bronx. And it was not a very nice area of the Bronx. It was where my parents grew up, and it got bad. Not near Yankee Stadium, like way in another area of the Bronx. And I remember going into this dingy, like, my grandfather smoked cigars, and he got his cigars at the store, and they had like, everything was brown and dark. It looked kind of like a lodge kind of environment.
Yeah.
Not sunny in there, very smoky. And they had like these magazine racks, and they had hockey cards, which was kind of weird because it was not like a very hockey area. And I remember buying a pack and getting that card, Rod Gilbert. I was 12. Now my next exhibit, I'm going to tell you something that you probably know about.
Bring it out,
you sound more modern.
I'm a little more
collecting
modern
than I am. All right. So this is. I don't have many more props, by the way. This is a 1972 Bobby Mercer. I wasn't a Yankee fan at the time, but I became a big Bobby Mercer fan.
If you're a Yankee fan, yeah.
All right, but I was a Met
name.
fan, and then I switched back.
Okay.
All right, but the thing about why I brought this card is because in 2001, Topps started doing something that is about one of my favorite things that Topps does. They started this product called Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yep.
So in 2001, they started reproducing all their sets with modern players.
Yes.
So now we're up to 2021 Heritage, and it's a reproduction of 1972. So there's Aaron Judge, my current favorite Yankee. And that's a 2001 Heritage. And that's the original Heritage Bobby Mercer.
True.
And note that the condition is quite comparable.
Yes, it is.
1972 and 2001. So
yes, it is.
I think this product is amazing. And I have every Heritage set ever made.
But I think what it does is like, I came through later.
Yeah.
And it bridges us.
It does. But like when I open a pack of 2001 Heritage, I feel like I'm 13 years old.
There you go.
You know?
Yep.
Okay, so that's that. So now I brought this one because this is when I was still into the Mets. In
Rusty Staub.
In 1974, and Rusty Staub was my favorite hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Seaver was my pitcher, Staub was my hitter. And what's really interesting and meaningful to me about this card is 1974 was a year that I think kind of changed the hobby, because it was the first time that Topps released all their cards at once, not in series anymore. So really what it did is it really kind of destroyed the comparative value of every Topps set from 1974 to the present.
Yeah.
Because all the other series have high numbers and expensive rookie cards, and comparatively speaking, from 1974 forward, none of them do. The other reason why, but it was really cool when I was 14 years old to be able to get all the cards at once,
yes.
and not have to
wait.
Yeah, and be able to buy like a box, and actually not get 5 of the same card,
True.
Now, the other thing that, for me, why this card was really important is because Rusty Staub got traded to the Mets in 1972. And in 1972 and 1973, he had a contract dispute going on with Topps, and there was no card of him. So this was the first
Good knowledge. I did not know
first card of Rusty Staub on the Mets.
Okay.
Now, interestingly, there's a lot of like custom cards on eBay now, and I've since picked up custom 1972 and 1973 Rusty Staub cards, like a Rusty Staub card from that design,
yes.
but it's fake.
Yes.
It never was.
Yes.
So, and they're called like the cards that never were.
Okay.
All right. So that's that. So now, because I'm older,
Okay.
and all this is old.
Yes. This is all before I was born.
Okay. So thanks.
Yeah.
So I brought my more recent.
Yeah, I'm seeing some back. So what I
modern day player.
Yeah.
And to me, these two cards change the hobby in another way.
So this is a gap between us. You tell your story, I'm gonna tell mine.
Okay. So these two cards change the hobby in another way. And the way they changed the hobby was Don Mattingly was a Yankee, and in 1984 he won the batting title.
Yeah.
And what this really kind of changed the card industry in a bad way. Cards that started to get more popular in like 1981. I remember, I'm a lawyer, and when I went to law school,
Ricky Henderson.
I went to law school in Boston in 81. I
Yeah.
actually saw, like, there was a sports card shop called Fenway Sports Cards right in the middle of Kenmore Square near Fenway Park. And I had never seen a store where all they sold was sports cards.
Yeah.
And it all of a sudden kind of, because when I was a kid, I got picked on for collecting cards.
I think a lot of kids did.
And all of a sudden, that legitimized it in like 1981. But these cards, particularly these rookie cards of Don Mattingly, blew the hobby into a new echelon. and it really created all the oversaturation
that we saw later
in the
90s.
late 80s and the early
That's
90s.
Right.
And I truly believe that these two cards really did that, because everybody at this time thought Don Mattingly was a Hall of Famer, and they invested. He should be, in my opinion.
He
but
should be in mine.
He got hurt.
That's right.
And because from 19,
You know why he left baseball, right?
well, he basically his back.
Yeah, and his family situation.
Right. But basically, from 1984 to 1989, he was the best player in baseball.
Yeah, no question.
And he should have been a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And other people have statistics that are comparable. We don't need to get into
That's
that.
right.
And then the Donruss one was more rare.
Much more rare.
I
I couldn't even get my hand on that card at the time.
So actually, another interesting thing is in 1981, which you probably know, that was the year where Fleer and Donruss happened, and that kind of changed the hobby, and that helped to make it into another level. But this was the first year Donruss cards actually were valuable.
That's right.
The quality of them were
right.
better.
Remember, the quality was real poor. When they
and
first
you had the
came out.
Mattingly rookies.
Yeah.
So I had to
showed
bring this.
So my story on these is that this is the first card, this Topps card, first card to make me want to start collecting baseball cards. First card I saw that, and I was a young kid. I started collecting stamps and coins
Right.
at like 7, 8 years old. So when this came out, I started seeing the value on this card. You remember this card jumped up,
Yeah.
even at that time.
I mean, I think at one point it was probably worth like 50.
That's
50,
right.
$50. And this was worth 100.
And at that time, that's crazy.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I need to start collecting baseball cards.
Yeah.
Right? So I started going out and buying more and more. I bought a lot of Topps that year. Pulled a lot of these out, which are still in Chicago, in holders. But that's
I did too. I was going nuts around this
That's
time.
right.
And I moved out here from New York in =85, and I was buying cards because I was going to sell them out here to try to generate money if I needed money. You know, but I have still a lot of these. I don't know what these are worth now, because once I own it, I don't really care. So I never really look. I'm suspecting $10.
It's not a lot, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, maybe
Not a
that's
lot.
worth 20. I don't even know.
This is pretty nice because of the centering on this card.
Yeah. I have a lot of these.
Yeah, you see these all over the place.
Well, when I would buy cards,
You're picky.
I'm a centering freak. I told you that. Remember?
Even before somebody else even talked about centering,
Yeah.
we're grading.
Yeah. So I'm almost done with the props.
All right.
I
with it.
only have 2 more props.
Come on.
You know, I'm a big hockey card
Yes.
collector now.
Yeah.
And my favorite player is Artemi Panarin on ex-Blackhawk on the Rangers. And this is a card that I just recently got. It's an upper deck hockey card because Topps doesn't have the license anymore. So it's just a really nice Artemi
12 out of 15?
Panarin.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring it only to show you that I can be modern.
All right.
And
You got real modern with
and
this.
I'm about to close with something real modern because I
Okay.
only have one more prop.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to close on something that you might not know about, and if you don't know about it, you're going to have a little trouble with it at the beginning.
What's up?
So in 2017, I was looking online and I saw this Rick Nash card. Rick Nash.
Oh, I remember Rick Nash.
Rick Nash was my favorite Ranger at the time.
Yeah, I remember he came out.
And I looked at the card and I didn't understand what it was saying in the listing. It was on something called Topps Skate. And I was trying to get it, and it was only virtual. And I didn't understand it. So I ended up contacting and I'm going to show you the card.
Okay.
I ended up contacting the person who was listing it, and I said, is there any way that I can get a physical copy of this? And he said, no, there's like a whole virtual card thing going on.
What year was this?
2017.
Okay.
And he said, if you could get over not being able to touch the cards, you're going to really like this. And I decided, I wanted to check it out. And so I signed up for this thing called Topps Skate.
Okay.
And there's also a baseball version called Topps Bunt. And I'm going to show you the card that got me into this. And my daughter helped me set it up, and she thought I was absolutely crazy. But for the last, is it 5 years now? 4.5 years, I have been really into this app.
Okay.
And I have an amazing virtual hockey card collection. And here is an example of how you access your cards on the app. And I have, not all these are good,
Okay.
and a lot of them are not worth money, but I have about an 80,000 card virtual card collection. And this is the Rick Nash card that I was telling you about. And the graphics on these cards are beautiful.
Yes.
And so basically, this is my virtual card collection. It's on my phone. Wanted disadvantage, that's all Rick Nash, but I can pick up any team. Like, since you're from Chicago, I'll pull up the Blackhawks.
Okay.
And basically, I can carry this collection around with me on my phone. I have to access it through the internet. These cards trade on eBay. There's a currency.
I've seen them on eBay.
You can trade every day. There's a baseball equivalent called Topps Bunt. It's going to come up. It just takes it there. So these are all my Blackhawks cards by year. These are all modern 2021 Blackhawks cards. And this is Topps. And Topps doesn't have a license for physical cards. And the reason I don't do bunt, this one is not showing well. The reason I don't do bunt is because they're the same as the physical cards. And I happen to love the photography better than Upper Deck, actually.
Yeah.
And there's like a fix every day, multiple times a day sometimes. And there's trading. It's an interactive site. There are contests. And I just love the cards. I just have a physical hockey card collection and a virtual hockey card collection. And at home, I have a room where all my physical cards are.
Yes.
It's a lot more economical to carry
Less
them
storage,
around with
right?
you. Less storage.
Yeah.
So, there are pros and cons to it. It's just two different markets. A lot of physical card collectors can't get their arms around this. I couldn't at the beginning. I can now.
So does this app tell you how your card appreciates in value over time?
Well, no, it really doesn't.
Okay.
But what it does tell you is how many there are. So, for example,
Population.
So, for example, I'm going to show you a couple things that I have here. And it's you're basically buying air, so it's hard for certain people to understand. But now with the whole NFT market,
That's right.
this is becoming
Yeah,
more
so it's like the
socially
future.
acceptable.
That's why I asked you what year did you start. You said 2017. A lot of people weren't talking about this.
Well, it happened. I got in after the first. It's like I got in like August when the cards were released the October before. But like, for example, I'm going to show you something. When it comes up, I'm going to show you. I have one of ones, so the only one in the world. So it's kind of analogous to an NFT. So like right there, that card. I'm going to show you how you know. It's going to come up. See how many are made?
Yes.
One. It's the only one.
Global count.
And I mean, I'm not embarrassed. Well, maybe I'd be embarrassed to say, but I paid $150 for that.
I wouldn't be embarrassed to say that.
And these cards, people advertise them on eBay for like more than that, but they usually don't get that. I mean, if it's like I don't know if you follow hockey, but if it's like Connor McDavid or Patrick Kane, those guys are going to go on eBay for maybe $250.
Yeah.
But it's just another market, and now, it's becoming way more popular. There's all levels of cards, just like there's expensive ones, there's inexpensive ones, and one of the this is actually a good closer for me. One of the best things about this whole industry is that, well, there's two things. Number one, there's something for everybody.
I was just about to say
Okay,
that.
so
I don't care how old you are, how young you are.
I'm not a gambler.
Yeah.
And I only
Neither am I.
only want cards of my players. So I'm not going to buy an expensive box when there's almost no chance of getting the player I want to gamble and get another hit. I'm going to go on eBay and I'm going to buy the card
That's
that
right,
I want.
that you want.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I don't want to spend a lot of money in boxes to make a set.
Neither do I.
Because I'm a set collector. So
Yeah.
I'll go buy the sets on eBay. But what's happening now is because of the pandemic, the hobby has gone nuts, and there's a lot of people that are getting more involved in the gambling element of it, and it's causing hobby shops and people who are, buy from distributors to have to raise their prices and not be able to get product. And it's kind of sad if all you are is a collector, like us.
But now you got money coming in from New York and other places.
Right.
You have people that don't know anything about
Well,
cards,
you got,
and they're holding $1 and $2 million cards.
Yeah, Fabian, I'm buying cards from Taiwan. I'm buying hockey cards from Taiwan, from Belgium. Because you can see, where it comes from.
Yeah.
And you would like it because you get good stamps when they send you the
That's right.
thing. But the other thing about it too, which what I always say is, it's my vice. But the thing about it is, it's an appreciating vice.
That's right.
I don't spend
I'm
money.
not throwing money
I don't
away.
spend money on alcohol.
That's right.
I don't spend money
Speak
on
on
drugs.
it. I tell people this all the time.
Yeah. So like I look, and I mean, like I happened to look today because I knew I was coming to see you. I was curious as to what some of my PSA Manals were going for on eBay, and it would blow your mind. I didn't realize how much they've gone up.
It wouldn't blow mine.
Well,
because I look at some old cards sometimes.
So I have two 1958 PSA Manals, PSA 8. I didn't bring them because they weren't pivotal cards in my life, and they're going for like $10,000 a piece. I have a 57 PSA 7 and a PSA 8, and both of them are nice. Although I think the 7's, the coloring is nicer than the, and I mean, they're listed on eBay for $13,750. That is insane. I'm never buying another one again. I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a card. But you can get a reprint of that card. Those are have gone up to like $30 to $50.
That's right. The reprints on the market, I've noticed. Yeah. LeBron, Jordan, all different types of stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a basketball story that's going to really kind of make you sick. I stopped being a basketball collector in the early 1970s when the Knicks stopped being good.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I actually have one basketball set. It's a 1972-73 set. The cards are very psychedelic looking, and I just like the design. But in 1986, I was a young lawyer. I didn't have a lot of money, and Fleer came out, and I always was a real big fan of Fleer baseball, and they came out with the basketball product. So I bought like 4 or 5 boxes of 1986 Fleer.
Now, where did you get those from? Because I think a lot of people should understand that where you could go buy a baseball card and a football card at the time, basketball cards were not sold.
Card shop.
Had to go
from
to
Matt.
That's right.
In Beverly Hills.
But a lot of these 7-Elevens and places like that, you didn't see that.
But you know what? Even like now, even though they sell cards in Walmart or Target, but they stopped because people were hoarding and fighting, so there's no more. But for me, I segued from those kind of stationery stores to hobby shops.
That's right.
And I never shopped. I would go like during the glut and look at Target. I'd go into Target and see if I could see a Don Mattingly on the front, But I didn't really buy cards.
I went to hobby shops as well.
Yeah, I didn't buy cards from retail. Yeah. So now I went and I bought those 86 cards in I bought maybe 4 or 5 boxes, and I opened them, and I got a few Michael Jordans, and I remember I gave one to my office manager's son right out of the box. Okay? And I know you know what those are worth now. Okay?
Yes,
I did save a few.
Okay.
And I used them toward a down payment on my first house. Okay. But nothing like they were. I mean, those cards like ungraded probably go for $10,000 a piece now.
Well, if you go back 2 years ago, right before the pandemic, a PSA 10 was about $50,000.
Yeah, but it's hard to get a PSA 10. But
out
of the box,
box,
you're going to get an 8
That's right.
And you could even get a 9.
Yeah.
And a PSA 8 Jordan, I don't know what that goes for now, but
pretty good money.
Nice chunk of change.
That's
right.
But nobody thought at the time, even up to 2-3 years ago, that these cars would go to where they are right now.
And I don't want to sound like I'm the most benevolent guy in the world, but I really did like it when other people got into cards. And one of my fraternity brothers is a big hockey fan. He's from Boston, and I've given him a Connor McDavid rookie, I've given him other really good rookies along the way. I've given people Wayne Gretzky rookies before anybody knew what it was going to be like. I mean, I only have one Wayne Gretzky rookie now, and it's not graded.
Okay.
I think one recently sold a 10 for like 3-point-something million.
Yeah, that was the O-Pee-Chee version.
Yeah. I have an O-Pee-Chee. I'm sorry. I have two. I have an O-Pee-Chee and a Topps version. But it's kind. So many more people are interested in cards because I can. They just want to know how much they're worth, and I find it kind of like repulsive that if you're talking about cards, it's one of the first questions people ask.
Not the history of how you got it.
For me, it's like it's about so much more than that.
Even what you pulled out.
Yeah.
Your stories were the main focus. We haven't really even talked about the value of those cards. It's about the stories.
Right. So now let's see what you're gonna.
All right, I'm gonna bring some stuff out here. I got some props. Before we even get into cards, I want to show you 2 jerseys that I've worked on since I was probably about 15 years old. First one is a Hank Aaron jersey, Mitchell & Ness, but it's a 500 home run jersey.
Now that is impressive. I don't have anything that impressive.
I've worked on this for years, so we're gonna name out some names.
Okay, but I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna
Go ahead.
not one up you, but I'm gonna give you kind of like an adjunct to your story.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I met Eddie Murray because I was trying to write a book about opening day, and I interviewed about 1,000 players about their most memorable opening day experience.
Okay.
And everybody told me that Eddie Murray was a mean, nasty guy.
I've heard that too.
And I was scared to go approach him. And I approached Eddie Murray in Tampa in spring training. I believe at the time he was a coach for the Indians, maybe the Orioles. And somehow he started asking me where I was from.
Okay.
And we ended up having a whole conversation, and he couldn't have been nicer to me. I met Frank Robinson more than once. I interviewed Frank Robinson about his most memorable opening day experience because he homered for the Indians on opening day. And I think he was the manager when he did it.
Yeah.
I have not met Albert.
Okay.
I can't read this one.
Ken Griffey Jr.?
I've met Ken Griffey Jr. He's a jokester. He joked around with me. I never got to meet Ernie Banks.
Willie Mays?
Willie Mays, I met. He wouldn't let me interview him because he thought it was more important that I interview the modern guys. And Willie Mays.
He definitely has opinion.
And Willie Mays was my other idol. Some people think he's not that nice. I read his bio, and one of the things that I found really interesting about his bio. Did you read his bio?
I've read, yes.
Okay. He liked it better when older players were around that he looked up to when he was younger than when he was an older player who younger players looked up to. I met Willie McCovey. Is that Willie Stargell?
That's Mike Schmidt.
Oh, that's Mike Schmidt. I've not met Mike Schmidt.
Have you met Willie Stargell?
No, because he died.
I met him when I was 15.
Yeah. I always
perfect gentleman. Had great stories.
One of the scariest batters I've ever seen. Although I think Willie McCovey was actually because he leaned over the plate.
Yeah.
All right, let's see who else we got here.
Hank Aaron.
I've never met Hank Aaron. I tried to interview him, and his agent wrote me back and nicely said no or something like. But it was not a bad experience. Amazing player. Yeah. Just on him. I actually thought Willie Mays had some greater moments.
More flair to his game.
And maybe Willie Mays was a better overall player, but there was no one more consistent than Hank Aaron. And we are never going to see anything like that again.
And he never hit 50 home runs.
Yeah, and I remember the year though when him, Dave Johnson, and Darrell Evans all hit over 40. All right, who's
Rafael Palmeiro.
Never met him. It's a shame what happened to him.
Yes, it is.
He
started out as a Cub.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes. A-Rod.
I have nothing nice to say about him.
No Yankee fan does.
Nothing nice to say about him.
Mark McGwire. Jim Tomei.
Not a fan of Mark McGwire. Met him. Not only did I meet him through somebody who knew him well, and he still wasn't nice. Jim Tomei, met him. One of the nicest guys ever.
Comes across that way. Sammy Sosa.
Sammy Sosa, met him. I'm not a fan, but very friendly, and his arms were bigger than my legs.
Yes. Barry Bonds.
I did not have a good experience with Barry Bonds, but I have he's become a cyclist.
Yes.
And I
Avid
have
cyclist.
and I have a friend who he helped change tire for on PCH. So I'd venture to say that even Barry Bonds may regret how he behaved when he was a player. But boy, was he awesome to watch.
Well, I met him in 2015 for this, and he was very different than what I thought he would be like. Very nice. Had a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
Talked about Hank Aaron. I
I
had him sign
met
something
Bobby
else.
Bonds,
He was
too.
talking about that player as well.
I still could not resist watching him hit homers into the bag because it was an awesome
He was
sight.
special, man.
It was an awesome sight.
I was there when he had 714.
And I'm a believer, by the way, that all these steroid guys should be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree
And-
too.
and-
That's why I still put him on his jersey.
And it should just say something on their plaque
That's
because
right.
it's an educational museum.
That's right.
And by the way, I did do something kind of like this on a much smaller scale, on multiple levels. Not as grand with the 500 home run,
Okay.
and it's only 3.
Okay.
But I know what you went through because I only had to do 3. At the All-Star game in 2003 at Comiskey, I bought a print that was autographed by Don Mattingly, and I can't remember what it said. It's hanging in my sports room.
Okay.
And it had Don Mattingly, Tino Martinez, and Jason Giambi, and it said something like first whatever,
Okay.
because they're all first basemen on the Yankees. And because I had Don Mattingly's autograph, I went and I got Tino and Giambi's, and just the work and the effort to get to was difficult, and I got them and they were great. So I can't imagine.
So this started
how
from just a
hard-
jersey, and I've always been particular about getting my own autograph.
Me too. I don't even like them unless I get them.
90% of us here came in person.
Yeah.
Other were some send-ins like Steiner and things like that when they were open. So that's how I do my thing.
I just wish though that you started earlier. You could have got the Mick.
That's what I miss as well.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this story. I went to a card show when I saw Jim Brown that day. I think I saw Ernie Banks that day, and I saw Yogi Berra. And it was on the south side of Chicago, 183rd and Halsted.
Yeah.
And Joe DiMaggio was there, and Mickey Mantle was there. And they were through a zigzag line with long curtains up, so you couldn't take pictures. And it was stated you could not take any pictures. And my father asked me that day, do you want Mickey Mantle's autograph? Do you want Joe DiMaggio's autograph? I paid for it on the ball. And I was like, nope.
Yeah. So I'll tell you my Mickey Mantle meeting story. And if you have to go, just let me know because
I'm ready,
I go
man.
on all
I'm
day.
here. You can go.
So I Upper Deck hockey cards came out for the first time, I believe in like 91 or 92 because baseball came out in 89.
That's right.
And I remember that, oftentimes, you could get good deals at a show. And I remember I went down to Anaheim because I wanted to buy a bunch of Upper Deck. I want to get some Upper Deck hockey cards, and Mickey Mantle was there. And I walked in, it was at the convention center in Anaheim, and he was sitting literally by himself. There was nobody online for his autograph. And I was not really into autographs at all. And my grandfather, who died in 1966, gave me a ball with Mickey Mantle's autograph that he got. So I had his autograph. I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to shake his hand, and this was before phones, so you couldn't take a picture. So I went up to him, and there's a security guard there, and he started yelling at me I can't go up there unless I pay. And I'm like, but I don't want his autograph. I just want to shake his hand. No, you can't go. So I literally had my watch on, and I took my watch off, and I said, dude, hold my watch. I'm going to shake his hand. Here's my security, man. I'm not going to get an autograph.
Yeah.
Guy took my watch. I went and I shook Mickey Mantle's hand. It was 4 years before he died. And he couldn't have been nicer. I said, man, you brought such joy to my life for so many years. And he was so humble. And this is also when he was reputed to be kind of drinking a lot and not being nice. He was so nice to me. And I got my watch and I left.
And those were the years where he signed a bunch of autographs
Yeah.
and different inscriptions and stuff that's legendary today when you see it. A ball could be 10 grand, 8 grand.
All mine says is best wishes, Mickey Mantle.
It's a great inscription.
Yeah. And you know what? My grandfather gave it to me. So, and I don't sell anything unless I have multiple, and I'm using it to get something
I've
else.
sold 2 cars on a show. We went to Burbank Sports Cars, and I sold 2 Carmelo Anthony rookie cards.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've sold nothing since I've been collecting since 8. I'll show you one more.
That's going to be hard to top, Fabian.
Some names are going to repeat. So now I showed you the 500.
Have you ever seen that 500 print?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Came close to getting that, but
I have a buddy who's got the basketball.
Oh, that's nice.
What it's is it
the top 50 players of all
something
time.
like that. Yeah.
Ooh, that thing is
All right, I
nice.
got a story about this, so we'll go there next.
So first, we're gonna look at the front. I bought this jersey when I was like, well, let me say,
I'm listening, but I have to show you something.
my parents purchased this jersey
Yeah.
when I was probably 12, 13 years old, something like that, maybe a little after. And it's a Angels jersey, Rod Carew. And I've talked to a lot of people. It's kind of rare in its own right because there's a 48 Rawlings jersey from that era. It's something that you really can't find today.
Yeah.
Very difficult to find. But on the back, I wanted to do it differently. You have seen 3,000 hit jerseys of a lot of different people, but you really don't see the focus on Rod Carew. He was kind of a technician.
What year was the All-Star game in Minnesota in 14? I think it was.
I think so. And he came out.
I'm going to show you something. Let's put this right on your jersey.
That's funny.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Do you know who both of them are?
Well, you got Rod Carew, the other gentleman's name. He was at a show that I went to. Good on base guy hits. What is his name?
Tony Oliva.
Tony Oliva.
So what was
Let me blow this up for you
What
too.
was great about this is I was going to hold this story, but I'll tell it now.
Go ahead.
So I was one of the trial lawyers for the Angels name change case.
Okay.
All right, and so I know a lot of the Angels execs, and I defended a lot of them at their depositions, and I'm very good friends with the former head of communications and former head of the Hall of Fame, who was very good friends with Rod Carew. So, and I had just gotten back from Cuba right before that All-Star game.
Okay.
So when I went and met both of them, I basically said, Rod, Tim Meade says hello, and Tony, I just got back from Cuba. And I brought all this baseball memorabilia to Cuba to give to people there because I knew how into it they were,
Okay.
including Tony Oliva giant cards from 1964.
Okay.
And I just gave them to all these Cuban people, and it was like unbelievable. And I got in pictures with all these people who I gave these things to.
Very nice.
It was fantastic. But anyway, that was my Rod Carew story. But now let's see.
So Rod Carew is the main athlete on this 3,000
All right.
hits jersey.
All right.
So some names.
All right, wait.
Some names
it's
duplicate.
it's more that I can't read them.
Right.
All right, is that Paul Molitor?
Paul Molitor.
Okay, wait.
Got that in St. Louis.
Okay, Ricky. I
Ricky.
met Ricky. Ricky's a character.
Yes, he is.
He does refer to himself in the
In
third
person all the time.
I have another twin story that I have to tell you in a minute. Robin Yount.
Yes.
I've met Robin Yount a lot because he coached friends of mine's kids.
Okay.
And I have a photo of him with my son. Is that Albert?
Pujols.
We're not talking about him.
Yes.
I've met Al Kaline.
Kaline. Cal Ripken.
I've interviewed Cal Ripken over the phone. Class act.
Yes.
Great guy.
Yes.
Hank, you
Yeah.
have.
Pete Rose.
I've met Pete Rose multiple times. Pete Rose, I ended up doing really well with him, but he can be difficult.
I'm gonna tell you a story about him.
Okay.
I'm in Vegas, and he was signing autographs in Vegas, and I go to get his autograph on another piece that he signs, and you get a chance to sit down by him.
Yeah.
So I asked him to sign a bunch of stuff on a jersey, and he was like, I really don't want to sign that. So he wanted to sign it himself and what he wanted to put on. I said, okay. So he signs about 15 inscriptions on the jersey off the top of his head. A lot of athletes, you got to put what you want in front of them for them to remember. He said, I said to him, you remembered all of those stats? He said, yeah, anybody that really played.
Unbelievable. The first time I met him, I was at my wife's cousin's Little League game in Beverly Hills, and he lived there, and his kid played in Little League. And and my son was really small, and I had him on my shoulders.
Okay.
And I walk up to him and I said, Hey man, I just want you to know I was a Met fan in 1973, and I really hated. Do you know what happened? It was when
No, what
he
happened?
slid into Bud Harrelson.
Oh yeah,
and there was a huge brawl.
Yeah, an All-Star game, right?
No, it was in the playoffs.
Okay.
And the Mets upset the Reds, and then they lost to the A's in the World Series. So anyway, so this is what he says to me. He goes, "Why were you mad at me? I had to watch the sumbitch at home on TV." That's what he said to me. And then he started reciting stats. And then years later, I knew somebody who was like a representative of his, and I wanted to interview him at about his most memorable opening day experience. And we went and had lunch at this restaurant that I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a popular Italian restaurant, right? Like near Sepulveda in Ventura.
Okay.
And I had lunch with him the whole time. He was amazing. And it's like what you said. He could recite
Great memory.
everything.
Great memory.
Everything.
Great memory.
Stan Musial,
Yeah, Stan
class
Musial.
act. Tony Gwynn,
Yeah.
class act.
Yeah.
I also was
Met them both in person.
I met him too. I also was at one of my highlight of sporting events I've ever been to was Game 1 of the 1998 World Series, Yankees against the Padres, where the Yankees were heavily favored, and Tony Gwynn hit a 3-run homer to put the Padres up 5-2 in Game 1,
Yeah.
and then Chuck Knobloch hit a 3-run homer to tie it, and Tino, who was my favorite player, hit a grand slam to win it. Off of Mark Langston, who I met because I did Angels Fantasy Camp, and I asked him about that.
Okay.
And he's actually a great guy. He was classy in his response. He said, because what happened in that at bat was the pitch before arguably was called strike 3. So I said to him, was that really strike 4? And he was really classy and said, hey man, I just made a bad pitch the next pitch. And that's what happened. Although I heard secretly he really was pissed about it. But anyway,
I imagine he would be.
who's this?
Willie Mays.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Dave Winfield.
Did you? I've met Dave.
I sent in for Dave Winfield through COVID.
Oh, I've met him a couple times. He used to live in Beverly Hills on Swall, in a condo complex.
Okay.
And I had friends that lived in the building, but I've met him at the airport. Amazing athlete. I saw him hit a home run in Anaheim, where I don't think it got this. You know, the guy who reminds me most of him now, but is nowhere near as good, the way he hits, is Giancarlo Stanton. Because Dave Winfield just hit line drives.
You got to think about him. There's a lot that could go wrong in that swing because he's so tall.
The same with Giancarlo.
But
Giancarlo's like 2 for his last 23
right.
now. By the way, did you get some of these at the same time on both jerseys? Because there's some. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I had them both at the same time.
Yeah. So they must have liked that.
Yeah, there have been conversations. I mean, you woke up with this. There was a lot of conversations.
Oh, because I remember we went to the All-Star game in Houston in 2004, and I was with my son at the time was 12, and I said his name is Jordan. So I said, Jordan, okay, I'm going to buy you a whole bunch of balls, and you only want to get one guy on each ball, because unless you get like really good quality players on the same ball, it's better to have one.
That's right. I agree with that.
So he was fixated on this. They had a big ball. It's like a basketball size baseball, but it looked like a baseball. So he wanted that. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I bought that. I bought a couple of individual balls.
Okay.
And he's walking around Houston, and we're like downtown, and everybody's out. And I mean, we met Orlando Cepeda, Luis Alvarez, people who came to that game.
Yeah.
And I'm friendly with the owner of the Red Sox, and he was there, and that's how we got tickets to the game.
Yeah.
So anyway, everybody wants to sign this big ball. They're throwing it to each other. You know, they're looking at everybody else who's
they get into it.
Signed it.
A real player gets into it.
Buck O'Neil signed it.
Yeah.
So everybody was commenting on that.
I met Buck O'Neil in person twice.
Tom Arnold, the actor,
really?
signed it. And he's like, he says to my son, you have Buck O'Neil? Do you realize
who this
what a
is?
treasure this is?
Yes.
We got Carmelo Anthony signed the ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was in Houston.
Yeah. That was championship time. Yeah.
And that was when I met A-Rod, and my son tried to get him to sign the ball, and he wasn't very nice. Maybe he was having marital problems.
Could have been.
Because he was with his wife.
Yeah.
But in any event, impressive.
Carl Shrimps.
Never met him. Talked to him on the phone with his agent when I was doing my opening day stuff, and I like his grandson. He's
grandson has game.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have known that. But he doesn't have the neatest.
No, he does his own thing with all.
So you still got guys to get on this.
Still got guys to get.
George Brett?
Won't stop. Yeah, won't stop. Can't find Brett.
Really?
Brett doesn't do a lot of signings in person.
Yeah.
So still on the hunt.
Derek?
Yeah. Had a chance to get him, so I
Yeah.
got him on another jersey a few years
Do you
ago.
know where?
to sign his
Do you know
sport.
where the best place
Where?
to get it? To get it?
Where?
Best place. Where do you think?
At the game?
Cooperstown. You got to go to Cooperstown on an induction weekend. That's what you got to do. Seriously,
I've talked about
you got to do it. I've been 5 times. You got to do it. That because they're all there and they're all doing it. And there's a hotel that they all stay at. The way to do it, and you got to do it like a year or 2 in advance.
Okay.
There's a hotel called the Otis Saga.
Otis Saga.
Otis Saga. You Google it.
Okay.
It's where they all stay. So what you do is you make a reservation there for like 2 years in advance when you really think you can do it.
Okay.
Fly into New York, drive up there. It's like 3 hours. Stay there for the weekend. Bring both the jerseys, and you'll get everybody who's alive who's left, unless they're assholes. All right. So what else you got?
Oh. So, rest of cards. Well, I'm gonna show you some basketball cards that are current.
I couldn't name 3 guys in the NBA. Maybe.
Well, this is a throwback card I'll show you.
Oh, this is like this is a design of 1970,
Yes.
kind of like 78.
I think it's 78. Says it on here.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So so this is like one of the tops now things that they're doing.
Yes.
You know what? I bought kind of like this concept, this Aaron Judge set, which was very expensive.
Okay.
Every one of his cards and every design year that I was going to bring that, but every
Next
year,
time,
every
Rich.
year, Topps ever made a card, Aaron Judge.
Okay. How many total cards are there?
I don't know. I never counted, but real in order, in like a really nice, and there's one of one, and so it was expensive.
So what excited me about this was
Acuna
and Soto on the same card.
Oh yeah.
Paid nothing for this on eBay.
Verdugo's good too.
Yeah.
What's it worth now? I just asked a question then.
Almost 1,000.
Oh really? Yeah.
I paid attention to that. So this is some LaMelo Ball, Charlotte Hornets, rookie this year.
Wait.
NBA.
This is not the one who was on the Lakers.
No.
Okay. So I'll tell you what I don't like about this card.
What's that?
I don't like any cards of anybody that aren't in the uniforms of the team that they're actually on.
Yeah.
Is he good?
Oh, he's a pretty good player. Might be rookie of the year or runner-up.
Who is he the best of the 3? There's 3, right?
3 big names?
No, 3 brothers.
Yeah, in my opinion, he's the best of the 3. I thought that when he was a sophomore year.
So who's the one that was on the Lakers?
Lonzo Ball.
Is he still playing?
Yes.
Is he good?
Pelicans. He's decent. He's getting better. Getting more of a consistent jump shot.
Yeah. Are you? So how do you rank your sports?
Basketball, football, baseball.
Okay. I'm hockey, baseball, nothing else.
LaMelo. Yeah, LaMelo.
See, now this is a nice card.
Is in his jersey,
This is a nice
right?
card. Yeah. So is this
It's a Panini card.
yeah.
It's out of 10.
I think Panini did really well, and I was bummed they lost their baseball license.
Yep.
And I was friendly with the guy who's a bigwig in Panini. But now that they don't really do anything, although they did make hockey stickers, but they just lost that, and now Topps has the hockey stickers.
Yeah, Topps is trying to dominate. All right, show you a few more. This is a LeBron card, 2016.
Are you a LeBron fan?
I'm in Brown LeBest.
Oh, okay. So, but you didn't answer my question.
Oh, I respect LeBron.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people that says he's won too much. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Brady hasn't won too much.
You know what I don't like about LeBron? I don't like people that just use free agency the way he does. I don't like that.
I have a lot of friends who feel the same way you do.
I'm more about like it's kind of hypocritical because I'm a Yankee fan and I like when Yankees sign free agents. I like to get players, but people that just kind of are not loyal to one place and they just move. Because I'm a fan.
Bring people in to win a championship.
Yeah. I'm not into that.
I know several friends that don't like LeBron for that same reason.
Yeah.
And when you bring LeBron up, it becomes it's a moment of conversation about how he does that. So like this year, the Lakers just got put out. You know something's going to happen in free agency about the Lakers. There's already conversation happening with Damian Lillard. Financially, I don't know how that happens.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, Portland Trailblazers point guard. I'm into some young guys. James Wiseman. Center, Golden State Warriors.
One of my colleagues is a huge Kentucky fanatic, like fanatic. So the only thing I know about basketball is like I'll hear about Kentucky players that then make the NBA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see if you have
So like Booker, people like that.
I mean, I don't remember them.
Okay.
You know.
I probably don't have too much.
But they're crazy. Kentucky fans.
So another LaMelo card.
You're into LaMelo. Or this is investing. Okay.
This was LeBron's second year. Bazooka card. The card I picked up recently at the show is the glass card of LeBron.
Where are their shows?
Oh, the show's in thousands. Rich, I'll start texting you.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Text me.
I want to go to the show with you.
Text me. By the way, so I don't like this card because it's all like clear. Like if
it's
it had,
hard to see.
If it had color, I would
Yeah.
like it. And I have some cards like this, hockey with color that I like.
Is it like an acetate or is it glass?
It's acetate.
Yeah.
I like acetate.
I love acetate because it's easy to scratch and hard to grade.
But I'll tell you what I don't like about cards like this. I keep my cards in plastic sheets, and I'll see a card on eBay that I really like, and I'll buy it, and it's too fat to put in a plastic sheet, and I don't like that.
You gotta get different sheets. You gotta get different sleeves to put them in.
Like are there 9 sleeves that
They're
are
thicker.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Where do you get them?
Any card shop, any hobby shop will have them. Luka Doncic silver rookie card.
Panini.
Yep.
Panini has the basketball license.
Mm-hmm. Now the story behind that card: my youngest son was born about a week after I bought this card.
Oh.
So this is like the RB. This is RB, the Roberts card. Probably something I never get rid of because of that. Another James Wiseman. This is a 1-on-1. But again, it has this collar shirt, the Nike swoosh on it.
See, the thing about one-on-one, I find one-of-ones really frustrating. And like that's one thing in virtual, it's better because, well, if the person doesn't want to sell, it's the same thing. But if you can find it, and the person, and on this, the people know each other a lot, so they know that like there's a particular player, this Artemi Panarin, if it's a one-on-one, I'm coming for it. They know, and other people will watch out and try to get it and help me. Problem with physical one-on-one cards is you have one bigger problem that makes it even harder, which is you don't know if anyone is even ever going to open the box that the one-on-one is in.
True.
You know? So like, for example, there's a Panarin card that I'm trying to get that comes from this product called MVP, and I think there's 5 of them made, and I'm holding the slot in my sheet for the card, and it's been a year and I haven't seen one pop yet. You know? So that's really frustrating.
It is frustrating. Even out of 10s can be very frustrating.
I know.
This is a Acuna rookie card, autograph, on card, numbered.
Nice.
Didn't even know at the time how hard that would be to get.
How'd you get that?
On eBay.
Oh, okay.
At a very reasonable price at the time. He had just come out.
I use eBay all the time.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Every day. G knows I'm on every day. Affordable Brady.
So this is a baseball card design.
Yep. It really is.
2000, early 2000s. I think that Brady is the best quarterback who ever played, but I'm not a fan.
Why not?
Well, I'm from.
Because the Jets and Giants?
Well, I'm not a football fan, but I'm from New York.
Okay.
So it's very difficult to like anything Boston.
I respect that because being from Chicago, anything Minnesota, St. Louis, not having it. Kansas City, not having it.
Although Kansas City does have good barbecue.
They do. St. Louis does in some spots. Non-numbered Acuna.
Do you like, is like Acuna your favorite player, or you just like to have? Like
some people I just invest in.
Yeah.
When I first saw him play, I saw something that was special.
Yeah.
that I could see going for years. He puts the bat on the ball. Now the ball may pop out the park,
Right.
but you very rarely see this guy swing for a home run.
Yeah.
He's just playing
And
baseball.
a lot of guys are not putting the bat on the ball
No,
these days.
and then he's animated on the bases,
Yeah.
almost like old school. I wouldn't say like Willie Mays,
He's got
but he's
pizzazz.
animated.
He's
Yeah,
got
see?
pizzazz.
And he's having fun.
Yeah.
This is a car Richie invested in. Only one of its kind.
Now I know Stephen Curry, and
Yeah.
he's a lock Hall of Famer.
Should be locked. Should be first ballot.
Yeah.
Should be locked down. I thought I need to start investing in it.
Now this card, they did a design like this in baseball when they had the license.
A little jersey action in there too. It's funny though, like this is 2009. How different car designs are now.
Yeah.
You won't see that today. It's got a little shimmer to it, but you still
Yeah.
won't see that today.
A lot more shimmer back then.
Yeah.
Panini had more shimmer.
So LeBron rookie, chrome.
That's a very Topsy design.
Yeah, very much so, right? White border with the red trim.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of chrome because I like it becomes more like art as opposed to.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, I like photography.
Yeah.
So I don't buy Topps chrome cards. I buy Topps. But again, we get back to there's something for everybody.
Everybody. That's the tops right there. Rookie.
Yeah, I like that.
Draft night. Now I got these cards. I'm gonna tell you this story. I got these cards LeBron's rookie year.
Yeah.
I went to a trip to I'll tell this story. Went to a trip to Miami Beach. Found a card shop. I used to take vacations and find a card shop in the city.
I do. That would be the first thing I
Yeah,
do.
and walk
I get
around.
to the room. I
That's
look
right.
up in the phone book.
That's right.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. So I went to a shop, and a guy was there. The owner was there, and I went in looking for LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony. And I had heard of Dwayne Wade. I had watched him at a tournament at Marquette. And thought he was a decent player. Probably was undersized as a guard. So I was like, nah, that's not going. So this guy's telling me, no, you shouldn't buy Carmelo Anthony. You should buy Dwayne Wade. He just kept harping us. He had all kind of Dwayne Wade stuff graded out, cheap prices.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I'm focused on Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James. So I picked this up, and I picked this up, and I pick up a few more Carmelos. Never have picked up the Dwayne Wade's equivalent. Never have. I like him as a player.
Is he really good?
Yeah, very
Hall of
good.
Famer?
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
One in 2006 for Shaq.
Oh, okay.
Hall of Fame. And then this is a recent card I picked up, which is hard to find. Yeah, 3Ds in existence.
So this is
That's a 92 archive top.
So this is a 1983 baseball design.
Same as the Don Mattingly.
Yeah, 84 baseball design.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is a gorgeous card. Now, of all the cards you showed me, I like this one the best. But you know why?
Why?
Because it's a baseball
That's right.
design that resonates
Then
with me.
what I liked about it, if you look at the back with the blue backing,
Yeah.
very tough to grade and find.
Yeah.
Very tough.
So I'm looking at something now on eBay, which I'll show you, which I already have one of, numbered to 25.
Yeah.
So here's the card. It's got a diamond chip in it. It's an Artemi Panarin.
This is an actual card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have one that's numbered to 25. That's the same, which is probably why. So I just got outbid, and it's at $94, right? And there's another guy who's got.
Do you have more time on that card? Or
Well, here's the issue. So there's another guy who has one right here for $149.99.
Yeah.
And he wants to sell it for $130, but there's tax and it's $12 shipping.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him I'd pay $100, right? And he basically said no. And so I don't want to bid this card up, because I want to try for that one after that one sells. Do you ever have that situation?
Oh yeah, all the time.
You know, so I don't want to make this guy. I want this card to sell for $94, because then I'll go to him. I'll go, look, man, that one just sold for $94. I'll even pay you $110. You know?
You got 3 hours and 17 minutes.
No, but I don't
left.
think I think I was the only one. This morning it was at 20. I bid 70. The guy outbid me. Then I bid it up to 86. He outbid me. Then I bid it up to 93, and he outbid me. So this guy's probably sitting at like 110 right now. I don't want to jack it up, because that'll screw me. Because I'm going to lose this no matter what it is. This guy wants that card, and it's not. It's going to go. I bet you it goes for 94, because because I don't think there's anybody else in play
Probably not.
except for me and him.
That's right.
And you know what? Another one will come, but this is only a number to 10,
Yeah.
and this is going to sound really weird to you, maybe not. I actually would prefer the 7 of 10 because Mickey Mantle's number 7
No,
than
doesn't sound
the
weird.
5 of 10.
Doesn't sound
You
weird.
know?
So, you a collector, Richie? Doesn't sound real.
Yeah. You know,
This is how we get down.
that's right.
This is what we do, bro.
Yeah, my son. I remember my son said to me once. My son was buying. You know, my son liked to get the good card. You know, and he said to me, I remember he got this really good Mark Teixeira card before
Okay.
Mark Teixeira was on the Yankees.
Okay.
And I always liked Mark
Texas
Teixeira.
Rangers card?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I always liked Mark Teixeira, and I think the shift killed his career. And
I agree with
remember
that.
my son said to me, Dad, I'm sorry I'm not as into baseball cards as you are. And I said, Jordan,
Everybody has their own
I said,
thing.
that's what makes the world go
That's
round.
right, bro.
You do that with me, and I do what you're into with you.
That's right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's what it's all
You
about.
know?
That's what it's all about. You know we're going to do this again, right?
Oh, totally. Well, we got to go to a show.